I'm Dan Kleffler in New York, and as Wall Street is calling it a day from Monday, June 2nd, this is Story Stock. Today, another bite out of Apple. The tech giant kicked off its yearly Worldwide Developers Conference in San Francisco. No new iPhones or iPads here, but CEO Tim Cook did make some pretty big news.
You're also going to see the mother of all releases for developers. It's a huge release, and it's so huge that we've dedicated an entire section of the presentation just for this.
Not to oversell it, apparently, but you heard from the man himself, Tim Cook, saying the mother of all releases for developers. Well, Aaron Task from Yahoo Finance has been glued to his Power Mac all day long, logging each and every detail from today's conference. And Aaron, all right, give us a quick background on exactly what happens at the Apple Worldwide Developers Conference.
Well, this is the annual pilgrimage that developers take to Apple's headquarters, or at least nearby in San Francisco, and hear from the company about what platforms they have in the works. It's all about software, and it's all about servicing the developer community. This is the Wonkfest of Wonkfests, really, and I don't mean that in a negative way. These are the people who actually are developing the apps that most of the rest of us use and in often cases love and rely on. And so Apple is giving out the newest platform, and I believe that clip you showed was Tim Cook about to announce Swift, which is a new programming language that they unveiled today. And it really is a big deal if you're a developer. As a consumer, we're not going to see the effects of this for probably several months, but for the developers, it is a really big deal.
It's where those small seeds of ingenuity and creativity get born right there. And I mean, Apple describes it this 5 days, 1,000 Apple engineers and 5,000 developers will gather together, and life will be different as a result. I mean, certainly Apple is not a stranger to being able to build things up with some hype. Something that I want to ask you about, this was an interesting, the new operating system, Yosemite, Apple revealing an exciting new way, in fact, to search. Let's listen.
Spotlight. So I'm going to click here on the magnifying glass, and boom, got a search field right in the middle of the screen. I can type just a couple of characters to launch an app, like our new reminders. There it is. It's that easy. And I can also do great searches, like just type a few characters, bang, I've got Yosemite entry from Wikipedia. I've got news from various sources. I even have maps right here.
Now, here's the question I have for you, because the search engine that is used is not Google. It is Bing, in fact, in the spotlight. So do we read into anything about that, about how that placement is taking any kind of effect?
Oh, yes. I mean, Apple is very clearly feeling like it's in direct competition with Google, and it is in direct competition with Google for dominance in the smartphone world. And Google's Android has been winning, certainly with market share around the world. I think Apple has a lot of the mind share, and obviously they were the first movers, but Google's Android is much faster growing and has more market share around the world. And Apple and Tim Cook very clearly see that as a competitive threat. And this search function is directly aimed at that. And Cook also took a little jab at Google and the Android platform, talking about security woes, that you might not be so secure if you have an Android phone, and Apple were much more secure. So clearly, Apple is seeing the threat from Google, and they're trying to go at it directly.
Now, despite all this media attention, though, and we're obviously talking about it, Apple stock came out with a few bruises today. In fact, I want to take a look at the two-day chart and see how that broke down from all of the excitement building up from investors preparing for this Worldwide Developers Conference. This is how the stock performed over the past 2 days. What are we expecting then for the rest of the conference if this is the kind of result that we see from Wall Street and investors?
Well, I think this is typical, actually, of what happens around the Developers Conference. The stock tends to rally heading into the conference, where there's all kinds of speculation about incredible new developments they're going to come out with, and the expectations just got set too high, certainly for this conference. And in part, I blame some of some Apple execs themselves. Tim Cook and some other senior Apple executives were at the Code conference last week and talking about, they have the most exciting product lineup they've ever seen in 25 years coming out of Apple this year. And when you consider what Apple has come out with in the last 25 years, the iPhone, the iPad, iTunes, and many other incredibly successful products, for them to say it's the best it's been in 25 years, that sets an incredibly high bar. And I don't think any company could exceed that. They also announced late in the game that they were live streaming today's event, which further ratcheted up the expectation that they might announce something, maybe an Apple TV or some other incredible blockbuster product, which they didn't do. And so I think that's why you saw a little sell the news reaction in the stock market.
Yes, and we'll have to wait to see how that's going to play out over the next couple of days. Aaron Tass from Yahoo Finance. Aaron, thank you so much. Appreciate your time and your insight. You've been watching Story Stock. Stay with abcnews.com for your latest headlines. I'm Dan Kleffler in New York.